I am making an update to my Heraldic Beast deck profile. Heraldic Beast is just a really fun deck, and with the new support cards they got in Alliance Insight, it's just got a whole lot better, especially since the quote funny number can now actually do things. Starting off with the monsters, I play 3 copies of the new Heraldic Beast Stadwale. Heraldic Beast Stadwale has the effect that when it's normal or special summoned, you can discard a card to add 2 heraldry spells. I think it has to be spells. You can add 2 heraldry spells or traps from your deck to your hand. And then, if this card's in your graveyard, you can banish it while you have 2 or more, or have 2 different Heraldic Beast monsters in your graveyard with the same name. So, I just realized the 2 different. So, if you have 2 copies of Heraldic Beast Griffin, you can banish this from your graveyard to then be able to summon the 2 Griffins back to the field. I think it was okay. However, use any of those effects, then you cannot XE summon except for by using Heraldic Beast or Number monsters, which in this deck is perfectly fine. Then next, I play 1 copy of Heraldic Beast Unicorn. Unicorn just has the great effect of being able to banish itself from the graveyard to bring back a Psychic Xyz monster from your graveyard, with its effects negated. If it didn't negate the effects, then I feel like Unicorn would have been a 3 of. And then next, I played 1 copy of Heraldic Beast Twin-Headed Eagle. Twin-Headed Eagle has the great effect of you can banish it, target an Xyz monster you control with no materials, take 2 Heraldic Beast monsters from your graveyard, attach them to it as material. Which, Twin-Headed Eagle can actually be used to extend Baguska's lifespan. Although part of me wants to use Number Wall in the deck so that Baguska can't self-destruct by its own effect. And then next, I play 3 copies of Heraldic Beast Griffin. Griffin is the Mathmech Circular of this deck, as it sends a Heraldic Beast from your deck to the graveyard for cost, to then summon itself from your hand. And then, its only other effect is that it counts as 2 materials for the XZ summon of a number monster that requires 3 or more materials. So Stadwale by itself technically can allow you to be able to get into the new Heraldry Crest. I always think it does more than that, but I don't think it does. Just be certain. Okay. And then the only other thing with Griffin is that when it's summoned buff its own effect, then it locks you into not being able to summon from the extra deck unless you're using Number monsters or Heraldic Beasts. Similar to Stadwale. Next, I play 3 copies of Heraldic Beast Amphisbaena. Amphisbaena is a free body as long as you discard another Heraldic Beast. And then while it's on the field, you can discard another Heraldic Beast to increase its attack by 800 till the end of the turn. You never really use that effect unless you have Unicorn or Twin-Headed Eagle in your hand. Or you have a Leo. Which, I'll get to Leo later. And then next, I play 2 copies of Heraldic Beast Aberconway. Heraldic Beast Aberconway has the effect that while you have 2 Aberconway in your graveyard, you can banish 1 to be able to return a Heraldic Beast from your graveyard back to the hand. I'm not gonna lie, for the longest time I thought Aberconway's effect was exactly what I said, but it returns an Aberconway and not any Heraldic Beast. And then next, I play 3 copies of Heraldic Beast Leo. Heraldic Beast Leo has the effect that during the end phase of this card's normal summon or flip summon, destroy it. Or is it something like that? Oh no, it's just when it was during the end phase of his normal summon, destroy it. But the effect you really want is its last effect of when it's sent to the graveyard, and then hard once per turn, add any Heraldic Beast from your deck to your hand. And now for the hand traps, I play 3 copies of Veiler, just stop your opponent from doing things during their main phase. 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, just to stop your opponent from grabbing cards from deck. Unless it places face up from deck, in which case Ash can't do anything about that. Next, I play 3 copies of Mulcharmy Flawless. Flawless just has the effect that you can only activate its effect while you control no cards. You can discard to the graveyard so that... Or is it... Just, you can discard this card. Okay, you just discard it so that for the rest of the turn, every time your opponent normal special summons from deck or extra deck, you get to draw a card. However, during the end phase, if you have more cards in your hand than what your opponent has on field, plus 6, then you randomly shuffle cards from your hand back into the deck until the cards in your hand is equal to the number of cards your opponent controls, plus 6. And you can only activate 2 Molcharmi effects per turn. That's it for the monsters. Moving on to the spells. Let's see if I can get these in a better spot. So that should be better. Starting off with the spells, I play 1 copy of Heraldry Reborn. Heraldry Reborn is just a monster reborn for Heraldic Beast. Next, I play 1 copy of Rank Up Magic Numeron Force. Numeron Force, I feel like, is one of the better Rank Up Magics, in the form of negation, that is. As Numeron Force has the effect where you target a number monster you control, special summon a chaos number from your extra deck with the same number in its name, but run 1 rank higher than that target from your extra deck, and then negate the effects of all other face-up cards on the field except for the monster that you're summoning. Which I love it because that is a permanent negate. And then next, I play 2 copies of Advanced Heraldry Art. Advanced Heraldry Art has the effect that you can target 2 Heraldic Beasts in your graveyard, special summon them, and then immediately XZ summon a monster using just those 2 monsters. That's it. Oh yeah, that, and you can only activate 1 Advanced Heraldry Art per turn. Although I will admit, I always did get this card's effect wrong when I first started playing Heraldic Beasts, just because for some reason I took it as, oh, you XZ summon using 2 Heraldic Beasts in your graveyard, meaning you don't actually special summon them. Turns out I had the wrong idea the entire time. Anyway, next I play 3 copies of Charged Up Heraldry. Charged Up Heraldry has the effect where you contribute a monster you control to special summon 2 Heraldic Beast monsters from your deck. However, for the rest of the turn after this card resolves, you cannot summon from the extra deck except for Psychic and Machine XZ monsters. Don't know why they chose Machine, but oh well. And you can only activate 1 Charged Up Heraldry per turn. And I think, okay, yeah, and the last of the Heraldry cards I play is 3 copies of Flash of Heraldry. One thing I am considering doing is cutting Flash of Heraldry down to 2, since it is extremely searchable off of Stat Whale. And putting in a copy of Foolish Burial, as you can Foolish Burial, send Leo, that'll trigger Leo's ability to add any Heraldic Beast. But Flash of Heraldry has the effect where you can target any number of monsters your opponent controls, and change their name to Unknown. And then, if this card, during the end phase, this card's in the graveyard, and you control a Psychic Xyz monster, you can set this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. And I'll explain the whole Unknown thing when I get to the extra deck. Lastly, for the spells, I play 3 copies of Triple Tactics Thrust. Triple Tactics Thrust lets you set a spell or a normal spell or a normal trap from your deck to your field during your turn in which your opponent has activated a monster effect. However, if your opponent controls a monster when this effect was activated, you can add it to your hand instead, and then if you do set a card, that card cannot be activated that turn. So ideally, with this, you would activate it to then add Advanced Heraldry Art. You could add Charged Up Heraldry, Heraldry Reborn, or you could add a Rank Up Magic Numeron Force. Or you could add the last 3 cards of the deck, which are 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. You can activate it from your hand while you control no cards, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, and negate its effects until the end of the turn. And then Infinite Impermanence has another effect where if it was activated while being set, or if it was activated while it was set on the field, it then negates all spells and traps within its column. Which, if you do that on your turn, be careful, because I've honestly have lost a few games because I activated Imperm on my turn and then had my spells negated because I played it in the same column. So be wary of that if you use it on your turn. That's it for the main deck. The main deck currently is 41 cards, as I really wanted to play the Rank Up Magic for one of the funny cards in the extra deck. So start out with the extra deck. I play one copy of Gaga Cowboy since this is a rank 4 spam deck. So start off with the card that's actually pretty good in time. Next, I play two copies of Sakura Vinderage. Or Vinderage, I don't know how to pronounce it yet. But it has the effect that once per turn, you can target a level 4 or rank 4 psychic monster in your graveyard, special summon it back to your field. And then when your opponent normal or special summons a monster, then you can activate its effect, detaching material, to then target that monster your opponent just summoned or monsters. I don't remember how that actually works. Let's see. If a monster special summoned while its cards in your main monster is in your monster zone, except during the damage step, you can target one other face-up monster on the field. Okay, I knew I was getting something wrong with its effect. Change that monster's name to Sakura Vinderage. This name changing will make sense. I believe it's the next card. No, it's not. It's the one after the next one. But you can only use each effect of Sakura Vinderage once per turn. Which, honestly, I feel like this was hidden Heraldic Beast support. Next, I play one copy of number 41, Baguska, the Terribly Tired Tapir. Baguska just has the effect that while it's in attack mode, it can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. And then while it's in defense mode, it changes all the monsters on the field to defense mode and negates the activated effects of monsters in defense position. And then during your standby phase, it has to detach material or else be destroyed. Which, you can use Twin-Headed Eagle to extend that effect. Or, one thing I actually kind of like doing is using Number Wall to then protect Baguska, as Number Wall makes it so that number monsters cannot be destroyed except by battle with another number. However, if a number monster leaves your field, the Number Wall self-destructs. And then next, I play two copies of number 18, Heraldry Patriarch. Heraldry Patriarch has the effect that once per turn, you can detach, as a quick effect, you can detach a material while there are two or more monsters on the field with the same name. Target one of those monsters and destroy every other monster on the field with that name. And then as long as Patriarch is on the field, monsters with that name cannot be summoned. So if you change the names to Unknown with Flash of Heraldry, you can then choose one Unknown, destroy the rest. And then Patriarch also has its second effect where if it is destroyed, if it is sent to the graveyard, then you can send two Heraldic Beast monsters from your deck to the graveyard. And I believe that first effect was only a once per turn, not a... Okay, the first effect is actually once per chain, so you can actually use Patriarch's effect multiple times in a turn, which I actually really like. And then... Okay. Next, I play one copy of number 8, Heraldic King Genome Heritage. Genome Heritage has the effect that once per turn, you can target one Xyz monster your opponent controls. Negate that monster's effects, reduce its attack to 0, or as I think it reduces the attack to 0. Let's see... Nope, it does not reduce the attack to 0. It instead just negates that monster's effects, and then Genome Heritage gains that monster's name, its attack and defense changes to match that monster's attack and defense, and then its effect becomes that monster's effect till the end of the turn. I would probably like this a bit more if it were a quick effect, because then you can use it in response to Detonator, which would be funny. Next, I play one copy of Time Thief Redoer. Time Thief Redoer has the effect that once per turn during the standby phase, you can take the top card of your opponent's deck as material, and then it has 3 different effects it can use when you detach any number of materials from it that activate depending on what type of material you detached. If it's a monster, then Redoer will then banish itself until the end phase. If it's a spell, I believe you get to draw a card. Yeah, and then if it's a trap, you can Place one face-up card your opponent controls on the top of the deck. And you can only use each effect of Time Thief Redoer once per turn. Honestly, I thought about playing more Redoer since Redoer is one of the easiest monsters for this deck to make, as it is a rank 4 Psychic Xyz monster. And the deck can easily just lock itself into Psychic, which I believe Baguska and I think Gaga Cowboy and Baguska are the only non-Psychic Xyz monsters in this deck. Anyway, moving on. Next, I played 2 copies of number 69 Heraldry Crest. Heraldry Crest was supposed to be the boss monster of this deck when it was first released, as it was released during the Xyz era, and then when people stopped playing Xyz monsters, it kind of just wasn't able to do anything for the longest time. But Heraldry Crest has the effect that when it's Xyz summoned, it negates the effects of all other Xyz monsters on the field, and then once per turn, you can target one Xyz. I think it is. Yeah, you can target one other face-up Xyz monster on the field until the end phase. This card's name and effect become that monster's original name and effect. And you can only use that each effect of Heraldry Crest once per turn. However, now it has a couple upgrades where it now has number 69 Heraldry Crest Shatter Stream. Shatter Stream has the effect you can also Xyz summon it by using a Heraldry Crest you control. And then, when your opponent activates the effect of a monster or declares an attack with a monster that's on the field, you can then activate its effect to destroy that monster, and if you do, you then immediately use this card to summon number 69 Dark Matter Demolition, or Heraldry Crest Dark Matter Demolition, which I played 2 copies of. Dark Matter Demolition has the effect where it cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effect. And then once per turn, as a quick effect, it can detach a material to then target one monster your opponent controls, change its name to unknown. And then while Dark Matter Demolition is in play, it negates the activated effects of all unknown your opponent controls. It's either all unknown on the field or all unknown. Okay, it's all unknown effects activated by your opponent. That's what it is. I also really like this card because it's a stronger Dracos Tapelia that can't be destroyed. And then lastly, I play 1 copy of Chaos number 69 Heraldry Crest of Horror. Heraldry Crest of Horror has the effect that I don't remember its effect when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can destroy all cards your opponent controls. And then if Heraldry Crest has material, then it gains the following effect, which I honestly forget this one, which is once per turn, you can detach material from this card, target a face-up Xyz monster your opponent controls. This card gains attack equal to that face-up monster's original attack, and if it gains attack this way, its name becomes that monster's name, and it gains that monster's original effect until the end of the turn. And that is it for my Heraldic Beast deck profile. If you have any ideas what I can do to improve the deck, besides adding Rise Yield, because I can't afford that, then feel free to comment down below. Or if you have any ideas for decks like face each other, like I think I'm currently working on Utopia versus Heraldic Beast, or Galaxy Eyes versus Heraldic Beast. Just some kind of like anime thing with the decks. So if you have any ideas for decks like to be made in the future, face each other, or any improvements for the deck, feel free to comment down below. I always read the comments. Thank you for watching.